Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Jameson and this is how I cook. Up next, I'm going to show you guys a recipe inspired by a great trip I had to Nirvana Candy Company in Lebanon, Tennessee. Lebanon is in the Nashville, Tennessee area, and Nirvana Candy Company was gracious enough to welcome me into their store, give me a tour, and they gave me a block of imported milk chocolate. So up next, I'm going to show you guys a pecan pie recipe just in time for the holidays. But not just any old pecan pie recipe. I'm going to show you a chocolate bourbon pecan pie up next on This Is How I Cook. And also, I'm going to show you guys some footage from my trip to Nirvana Candy Company. So if you're in the Lebanon, Tennessee area, the larger Nashville, Tennessee area, stop into Nirvana Candy Company and tell them that Jameson sent you. Guys, up next, let me show you how to make this pecan pie. All right, guys, before we get into our recipe, do me a favor, hit that subscription button and turn on those notifications. It really does help my channel to grow. So we started by melting 2 tablespoons of butter. I like to use salted butter in my baking. It's just a habit, but use salted butter or unsalted butter. The next thing we've got to do is we got to use some Karo syrup. So I'm actually following most of the recipe that's on the back of your Karo syrup bottle. It tells you how to make a classic pecan pie. So I'm changing it up a little bit and making the recipe my own. And in this recipe, it requires 1 cup of Karo syrup. So into the base of our pie, we're going to add half of this bottle. This bottle is 2 cups. And so we're going to add in half this bottle. Next thing we're going to do is add in some vanilla. So this is vanilla bean paste. And so I'm going to use about a teaspoon of that paste. I'm just incorporating this in. Now here comes one of the deviations from the classic recipe. This is about a shot's worth of bourbon. Use your favorite bourbon, something that you drink. Don't use anything terribly inexpensive, but you just want to put a good bourbon in there. That was 4 Roses bourbon. So I have that in my bar, and it already is making my kitchen smell amazing. All right, so the next thing I've got here is I got about half a cup of white sugar. The main recipe that's on the bottle requires a whole cup of sugar, but I'm changing the recipe up because I know that chocolate has some sweetness in it. And one thing about pecan pie too, it can get a little sweet on you if you don't take the time to adjust your sugar in it. And so I don't want a terribly sweet pie. I just want a pie that has some sweetness, but also has all those other beautiful notes in it from the chocolate and everything else that we're adding in. I definitely want to be able to taste the pecan, so that's what we're doing right there. Just a half a cup of sugar instead of the full cup of sugar. So into our pie filling, we're going to add 3 eggs. Just want to whisk the eggs in real good until you don't see any streaks of eggs. Also, you want to see if there's any sugar that hasn't dissolved into your batter. But that's what we want to be right there. So our next ingredient that we're going to add in is we're going to add in some instant coffee. This is Nescafe's iced roast coffee, but any instant coffee will do. We want to put in 1 teaspoon of instant coffee. The instant coffee is going to help enrich that chocolate flavor and help that chocolate to shine in our pie. So I've got 1 nice heaping teaspoon of instant coffee, and we're just going to whisk that in also. Next, we're going to add in some cocoa powder as well. So we're going to put in just a good teaspoon of cocoa powder. This is Ghirardelli's Premium Baking 100% cocoa Dutch processed cocoa powder. So just good cocoa powder. We're going to put a teaspoon of that in there as well. Just kind of sprinkle it into the pie filling. All right, to help the texture of the pie, we're going to put in about 1/8 of a cup of all-purpose flour. The all-purpose flour is going to help our pecan pie not to be too runny. So sometimes pecan pie, it can be really runny. And so this flour is going to help it to have a nice consistency where it won't be a runny pie. Just take your time and work that into your batter. All right, so the next thing we're gonna add in, we're gonna go ahead and start adding in our pecans. So I don't know if you guys say pecan or pecans. Let me know in the comments, is it pecans or is it pecans? But I say, I'm from the country, so we say pecans. These pecans, this is about 4 ounces of pecans. Add more if you want to. I've got a few more I'm gonna add in, so I'll put the exact amount in the description down below in the recipe. But I'm gonna just start here with 4 ounces of pecans to see where I'm at. One of the things you wanna do when you start working with pecans or any kind of nuts before you bake, taste these nuts to make sure that they're fresh, right? You don't wanna eat nuts in a pie that are rancid and taste old. So just taste the nuts, make sure that they're fresh. And once you taste them and you know that they're fresh, then you can add them into your pie. So I'm gonna take another handful here and I'm gonna just kind of break these up so that I can get a little bit more texture in the pie. So here's the star of our show. This is some of that beautiful chocolate I got from Nirvana Candy Company in Lebanon, Tennessee. This chocolate is milk chocolate. And so I shaded off about 4 ounces. There's no magic amount. If you want more chocolate in your pecan pie, put more chocolate in there. So for our chocolate bourbon pecan pie, I'm gonna use 4 ounces of this chocolate. And here, I'm gonna take a moment and tell you more about my trip up to Nirvana Candy Company in Lebanon, Tennessee. So come with me as we visit Nirvana Candy Company in Lebanon, Tennessee, and the greater Nashville, Tennessee area. As soon as I walked into the store, I was greeted with all the sights of my childhood, as all the familiar candy that I grew up eating is right here in Nirvana Candy Company. Super nostalgic as I walked through the store and I got a chance to see all the amazing items they have on the wall. And even in their display case here, you can see that they've got a great assortment of chocolates. They've got pralines, they've got fudge, they've got all types of items that make great gifts during the holiday season. Man, I would even get these and give them out to people that I work with because these are the perfect sort of bite-sized, handheld tokens of appreciation that you could take into your job and wow people with. Also in their display case, they feature many of the handmade items that they make right in the store. Nirvana Candy Company has a lot of beautiful equipment in the back for working with chocolate, and I got a chance to see it when the owner gave me a tour of the store. These items are made right in the store. Nirvana Candy Company also makes Italian water ice. It's a sweet, cold, and delicious treat. If you can't find what you're looking for on the walls of Nirvana Candy Company, then check out their massive selection of bin candy. You can just go and grab whatever you like and make your own custom grab bag. Nirvana Candy Company in Lebanon, Tennessee is simply amazing. As a parting gift, they gave me some of their milk chocolate that they use within their store, and that milk chocolate is featured in my chocolate bourbon pecan pie. Guys, thank you again for visiting Nirvana Candy Company with me. Now let's get back to my recipe. All right, we're finishing up our filling. I just want to be gracious again to my friends up in Nirvana Candy Company in Lebanon, Tennessee. I appreciate you guys so much for giving me a chance to come into your store. So we've got our pie filling made. So the only thing we need to do now is get our pie shell together, and then we'll fill up our pie shell with this and bake this. In the meantime, do me a favor, go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and we're going to go ahead and finish up this pie. All right, so we're gonna finish assembling our pie. So we par baked this crust, and so now all I'm gonna do is start by scooping out some of these pecans and making sure that they get evenly distributed into the pie. So this is the chocolate chunks in there, there's the pecans, and you just wanna start like that. These pecans will float, so they will come up to the top, and if you give it a second, they'll come up to the surface. And that's how you get that beautiful crust of pecans on top with that golden, gooey, filling underneath. And so I'm gonna bake this for about 45 minutes, and then I'm gonna start checking the temperature in the center of the pie. The recipe reference that I have, it says that the pie is done when it gets to 200 degrees. So if you have an instant read thermometer, you can start probing around the 45-minute mark. Remember, baking is a lot different at different altitudes and with different variables like that. So start checking it around 45 minutes. Your oven might run hot, your oven might run cold. Whatever the variable could be, you want to start looking at about 45 minutes. If the edge of your pie starts to get too dark, we can cover that with some aluminum foil to help it allow the pie to finish cooking without overcooking the crust. So we're gonna put this in the oven, and I'm gonna show you guys what this looks like when it comes out the oven in about an hour. So y'all, our pecan pie is ready. And so what we're gonna do here is just transfer it onto this cooling rack. But there you have it. This is our chocolate bourbon pecan pie made with chocolate provided to me by Nirvana Candy Company in Lebanon, Tennessee. Guys, this is how I cook. Y'all, I'm gonna show you what this, y'all, I'm gonna show you what this pecan pie looks like. This is still a little warm. Probably to cut it the best, you're gonna wanna put it into your refrigerator. But y'all see that pie? See how that pie looks? I'm gonna taste this for y'all right now. All right, let me show you what the texture of this looks like with the spoon. See it? How beautiful it is. It's not runny. There it goes. It's not runny. Oh, man. This is an amazing dessert. It's not too sweet. It balances the chocolate beautifully. That espresso or that instant coffee powder that we put in there, it really helps the chocolate to stand up in the pie. The pecans are nice and crunchy. They're not out of place in this. It's so good. The bourbon is in here. You can taste that. But it's just a pleasant accompaniment. You know, it's not too hot because it's not, you don't get a boozy flavor. You just get all those beautiful bourbon notes because the alcohol cooks off when you bake the pie. Also, the milk chocolate that we put in here, let me see, show you a little bit more of that. That beautiful chocolate that I got from Nirvana Candy Company up in Lebanon, Tennessee. See how beautiful it's showing up in the pie? Perfect pecan pie. So guys, do yourself a favor, just in time for the holidays, make yourself a chocolate bourbon pecan pie. Great for Thanksgiving, great for Christmas, or whatever you celebrate. Make that pie because it is simply amazing. That might be the best thing that I've cooked on the channel this year. Also, do yourself a favor, if you're in the greater Nashville, Tennessee area, stop into Nirvana Candy Company over in Lebanon, Tennessee, and tell them that Jameson Presents This Is How I Cook sent you by there. Guys, once again, I'm Jameson, and this is how I cook. I've got to do something else with this pie other than eat it all myself. But man, one more bite for the road because it is just that good. I cannot believe, I cannot believe how good this pie is. You guys take care. Every bite.